Hi everybody, I'm Katie Silverwings. Welcome to my flat in Farnham. I am a glassblower and textile artist. Currently studying at the University for Creative Arts here in Farnham in the UK. And I am still in my house as the government has requested. I've been absent from live streaming for a few days because there is something blooming in the vicinity that when I have my windows open to get a nice even temperature in my house because of the beautiful weather, I've been getting really bad headaches, and I've been trying to work on an essay that I have to turn in. So last few days I haven't been working on my patchwork and live streaming, but I am back and ready to doing better today. So I'm going to be going back and working some more on the banner I started last week, and I hope that you will enjoy joining me watching while I pin and sew things. And again, as always, if you have any questions about me, about what I'm doing, please feel free to do so. I do have my website up and running now. It's katiesilverwings.com. You can find that through my Facebook page as well, and hopefully I will be adding more photos of my work to the gallery on that as I get more of my assignments done and have time to do that. Like I said, I have my major project to work on still with all of my documentation and different bits of paperwork that I have to do for my main project that these banners are part of. And then I also have an essay that I'm writing about the nature of context in art and also my work. But without further ado, I'm going to turn you around so that you can see me working, and I'm going to get these things pinned so that I can continue sewing them. I'll show you one up first before I've got the window behind me. This is as far as I've gotten on these blocks. They're going to be log cabin blocks. They've got the first round of color on, and I'm about to sew the first piece of the next round. So as always, I talk to whoever happens to leave comments for me while I'm doing this. So if you have anything to say to me, please, by all means, leave it in a comment, and I will do my best to get back to you. They've got some new features on the live stream stuff since I last was on here. Anyway, I'm going to turn so that you can see, again, the absolutely stunning weather we have in Farnham right now. That is the nature of weather in the UK, when everybody wants to be outside and can go freely about their houses. The weather is rainy. When everyone in the country has been asked by the government to stay inside their houses, we have weeks upon weeks of absolutely gorgeous weather. I'm actually going to open this window before I get started, just so I have a little bit more air in here. There we go. So yeah, if you hear any sounds from outside, it's because I've got this window open. And I'm just going to see how much I can get done today, and I hope you enjoy watching. So I'm pretty much right where I left off here. Haven't touched any of this. Sirens the moment I open the windows. So I'm going to go through and pin each one of these remaining of the 34 blocks that I am currently making. Just pin this to the strip, trim it down to the correct length, and then once I get them all pinned, I'll sew them. See, there's one. Now that I've got it all pinned together. Pretty much all I've been doing lately has been working on my essay, so I'm kind of glad I have another project I can come and do that's not staring at the computer. The computer's staring at me now instead. So there's another one all pinned up. As you can see on the back, how nice and neatly all those seams are pressed down. Last one. And there are all of my little squares pinned up and ready to sew. So I'm going to turn you around and get started sewing these. So welcome to the rest of my apartment. I don't have a very fancy setup here as far as doing my live streams. So of course I have to turn the camera around every time I want to sew something or pin something so you can still watch. So for those of you who haven't met her before, if you're new watching me, this is Gertrude. She is my sewing machine. She is a 1924 Singer 99 hand crank sewing machine. Got her at a charity shop here in Farnham. Absolutely love working with this machine. No electricity required, just a little bit of hand power, but hey, a little bit of exercise and keep things moving. But works really well. I have not had, since I've got the bobbin sorted out when I first bought this machine, it has just been absolutely lovely. And yeah, so this is what I'm using. This is my general setup here. As you can see, I've got glass and things all over my house right now. But anyway, I'm going to sew all these strips on and then trim them apart, pin them, press them open, show them to you, and then get the next set of strips ready for them. So this is exciting. I have a tape measure here. I need to move out of the way. So in case you're wondering, you are currently sitting on top of my printer. So if this jostles, if this shakes a bit, I apologize. That is just kind of the nature of how this setup works sometimes. Anyway, without further ado, I finally got a good angle on this so you can actually see me and the sewing machine. And of course, every time I come to a pin, I have to take it out so that I don't break my needles. Yeah, it is shaking the whole place a bit. There's one. So it shakes because that's attached there. So if I just move this a little bit. There we go. Hopefully this will stop the shaking. There we go. Close this. And as always, if anyone has any comments for me, I will answer them as I see them on the side. So it may be a little bit if I'm sewing and I don't look up and see it immediately. But hi, Lupe. I saw the pictures of your fish from your fishing trip. Oh my goodness, big fish. Or at least they looked big to me. I hope you had fun. And I hope everything is doing well wherever you are. Goes for all of you. Let's see. Yeah, fishing with family is always fun. I just read your comment. Yeah. Oh, and my thread just got caught and broke, so I'm going to have to fix that. Let's see, double checking. Yes, I still have a bobbin there. So what do I need to do? Ah, yes. I need to go through here and rethread the machine. Lupe, I just saw your comment. My weekend. Productive, but at the same time, I have been having a lot of allergy-induced tension headaches recently where I can't tolerate bright lights or do very much of anything. Part of that may be because of eye strain from working on the essay I'm writing. So didn't have the ability to get up and post stuff the last few days because what little time I had that I could actually get anything done was dedicated towards essay things as opposed to talking to people and working on things. But other than that, pretty good. I've got one of my major assignments finished and ready to turn in as soon as they give me the guidelines for how to turn it in. And I'm getting parts of my essay written. So yeah, pretty good here. Just same walls as usual. Not really much change there. But thank you for asking. Why am I trying to thread that way? That is why I have a needle threader. These things are absolutely wonderful. They've got a nice little metal loop that you squeeze through the eye of the needle, put the thread through, and then pull back through. Needle threaders are so much better than trying to poke the thread through the needle, especially on a machine like this. Newer sewing machines, a lot of them actually have a needle threader that comes with it that's a little like a crochet hook that just pokes through. You pull the thread under and it pulls it through. Needless to say, this model did not come with that feature. Saves a lot of time when your thread breaks or when you have to change threads. It just pops right through. The other difference between this machine and a lot of modern machines is that Gertrude's needle points towards the eye, goes like this, and on most Gertrude's eye goes like this on a needle. So the needle is laid out to where the thread goes through like here. On most modern machines, the needle's like this, so the thread comes through from the front to the back, which is great if you're doing a zigzag stitch, which all those machines are set up to do. And that's how their needle threaders work, is that the hook comes through here, grabs the thread, and pulls it through. if you put a needle that arrangement in this machine, it will break. Yes, voice of experience there. It took me a couple days to figure out all the details of how to really get this machine to work. But once I got her to work, she's beautiful. There we go. And as always, doing my patchwork with a 1/4 inch seam. How is the situation in the UK? As far as I know, we're pretty much the same as it's been here. I don't really I don't let myself look at news in a lot of ways because I have anxiety that is triggered by global uncertainty and things like that, and news media harping on how everything is. From what I understand, I am supposed to stay in my house for another 2 or 3 weeks, and that past that, I don't really know. Nobody has pointed anything out to me, and because I've been doing nothing but working on my projects and my essays and things, I've not really had time to go in and find out what the situation is. And all I really know is that when I'm listening to music on Spotify, every now and then I get these little advertisements that aren't from somebody trying to sell me something, but from the NHS saying, please stay in your home. So I'm doing that. And sorry, I'm not a good source of information on what's going on here. I do not know what goes on outside the walls of my house right now. But from what I understand, things are in the will probably start to be getting better, but it's going to be a while phase. But again, I highly recommend, if you are interested in knowing facts and figures for here, Google information on that from the UK government, because I can't really give you any better information than they can. So sorry about that. I know current events are important. It's just for my own mental health right now, I can't handle keeping up to date with the global situation. It's just too much for me. Which is why I do this, and I give y'all a break from give y'all a break from having to listen to people talk about that. So, a long time to be indoors. I, aside from taking my trash out to the bins outside the building, have been sequestered in my house for, I think it's 4 weeks as of today. Yeah, I think it's 4 weeks now. I kind of have lost track. I would have to actually think through how long it's been, because when you're stuck inside all the time and the weather doesn't change all that much, we had one day where it rained, I think. It is a long time to be indoors, and it all really blurs together. For me, it's a matter of get up, work on stuff, have lunch, work on some more stuff, sew things, make dinner. So yeah. But yeah, thank you for your interest in all that. I just can't really say that much because I've not left my house all that much in the last few weeks at all. I mean, again, I could theoretically leave once a day to go outside for a walk or something, but because I have this thing about not wanting to have even the potential of people yelling at me for being outside my house, I'm kind of just staying in my house. I know that's really silly, but that's just kind of how my brain and my anxiety works. But I have had plenty of time to be researching stuff for after all of this is over and when I'm moving back to the States. So plenty of time for that. Definitely plenty of time to be working on my schoolwork. So it's just a matter of using the time that I'm here to, thing one, recharge and rest while I have the chance to, and thing two, get stuff done. But oh my goodness, I will be so glad when I can leave my house. I will be so happy when all of this is over and I can leave my house. Especially because when all this is over and I can leave my house, that means that studios that I get to work in will be opening up again and I can play with some glass again, and I really miss glass blowing so much right now. Luckily, I do enjoy patchwork, and to some extent, I do enjoy the writing that I'm doing for this essay. It's just it takes forever, and because I have a word count limit, I have to take everything that I'm finding from this research and figure out what to snip away from it so that I just have the essentials, and that's taking me some time. But it'll get there. Kind of weird, actually, because of all of this and because of the research I've had to do for the project that I've finished, and some other things. I'm actually more certain now about what my plans are for after I leave this country than I was before all of the uncertainty started. When you're left alone in your house and all you can do is think about what possibilities and research and just do stuff and read stuff, it does make for a good environment to figure out what I actually want to be doing with my life and where I want to go and how I want to move on from here once I am able to leave these walls. I mean, granted, I'm very fortunate. I have a nice flat here. I have plenty of space. I don't share my space with anybody, so I don't have to worry about getting on anyone's nerves or going stir crazy from that. And I have my food situation under control. Luckily, I subscribe to one of those nice meal box kit things where they deliver fresh vegetables and things to me once a week. And for me, that is a great option because I'm small. I don't need much in the way of food. I can take, and one of these pre-portioned meals, even though it's designed for one person, is either 2 to 3 meals for me because portion sizes for a lot of things are bigger. And Lupe, you just asked what my plan is. Well, let me sew this, or get started sewing this, because I do have to keep sewing while I talk. So I am, well, for one thing, I am going to be applying to graduate schools. I've got some things in the works, talking to people about what I can do with my portfolio, since it's going to be a little bit abridged because of all of this. And I'm going to be applying to a few different part-time positions or internships, assistantship kind of things in the States. And because all of that is literally all over the States, and I mean, one of the grad school programs I really am interested in is in Canada, because naturally, Canada. So I had been really concerned about moving from here to an unknown and having to pack up my stuff from here and have it shipped somewhere just to have it shipped somewhere else. And I figured out I'm probably always going to be a nomadic artist and glassblower because a lot of the residencies that I've looked at are in different parts of the country. A lot of the places where I could potentially exhibit my glass, different parts of the country. Again, talking about the U.S., I am most likely going to be moving back to the U.S. once I graduate, probably towards the fall this year, because I can stay in the country for a couple months, and I have a nice studio here that would let me keep working for them for a couple months after I graduate while I get everything sorted to send back. But my general plan is that eventually I am going to get myself a nice little motorhome, one of the kind where you have the bed over the cab, and set it up with mobile house and art studio, because I don't really need all that much to travel. And the whole thing with my making art is so that other people can have it in their homes once they buy it from me, so that I don't have to always have everything. And generally going to set up to be a traveling glassblower assistant and maker of things and writer, like I have always wanted to do. And then I've also been looking into, for a few years down the road, after I've done my master's, there is a company in Georgia in the States that makes mobile glassblowing furnaces. So they're little bitty dragon furnaces that you can run off of a barbecue propane tank. And this company has all of these smaller scale hot shop equipment pieces like that when you can have an entire glassblowing studio that fits in a U-Haul trailer. So Yes. So yeah, generally my thought is then I want to be able to have my little mini glassblowing studio that I can take with me different places and come to places like Floyd County or different parts of Texas for festivals and things and do glassblowing demonstrations and generally just get to make beautiful things, share that with people, and see different parts of the world, wander around. Because I am not the kind of person who puts down permanent roots. I have too much wanderlust in my heart. I am made for going in new places and try. I cannot see myself running a physical hot shop in a single place. So, since there is a possibility of doing a mobile one, that's what I'm kind of aiming towards right now. Still in the researching phase on that, but granted, part of why I really do not want to potentially be getting apartments and having to move every 6 months to a year because of different opportunities. Maybe the fact that I've been crammed in my apartment here and not able to really go do or see or be anywhere else for a while, and I'm getting a little bit stir crazy. Um, so and I will definitely come say hi if I do get to do all of that and I'm ever driving through Texas. So, 4 more, and then I can go and then I can trim and pin these. And the nice thing is, if I do end up getting to do that and be a one itinerant glass blower and textile artist, Gertrude doesn't require electricity and she doesn't take up much space. So I will be able to take this sewing machine with me and just have it in my trailer to work on patchwork. And I will still probably be doing live streams like this periodically. So keep following me. I will eventually be having adventures that don't involve staying inside this apartment someday. I guess that is kind of the one of those silver linings to this whole situation is being in a position to have the time to really think through my life and living situation and what I want out of life once I am able to move about again. And I highly recommend that if you're in a place mentally where you can and physically with your whatever your situation has to be, think through what it is that you actually want to be doing once all of this is over and for the rest of your life, because life is too short to do this to yourself or to make yourself be in a situation where you're unhappy if you can help it. If there's a better path for you and you can take steps to achieve that path without causing yourself too much to lose things that are important to you, or basically if you can get onto that path without hurting other people, And if there's something that you've always wanted to do with your life, maybe after all of this is over, it's time to do something about that, because we've all been sitting around too long now. Anyway, that's me being slightly too inspirational for a moment. I haven't really been talking to many people the last few days because I've been not in a place with my headaches where I could actually be set up and do this and anything. So maybe have a few pent up thoughts there. Yeah, you're right, Lupe. Part of what we're here for is venting and interacting, and I guess motivational venting in that case, I suppose. And there's the last one. So now I just need to clip all of these apart, and then I can go through and press them open. I'm so excited to see how these look with this yellow strip added to them. I have to say, aside from, depending on what opportunities I actually get chosen for or that work out for me, once I do have my RV set up, even if it's before I've got the mobile glassblowing studio, I do want to go back through Texas. I got to travel the state quite a bit when I was younger with my family for different things, but it would be nice to get to go through as an adult with a little bit more time to really see everything, see my homeland, take a bunch of photos for future projects, and do some sort of project to do with that notion of places that I come from. So again, nothing like being corralled in my house for a month and some to make me really eager to be embarking on a life that means I get to move about more. Oh, hi, Roland. Yeah, agreed. Reflecting on life goals, looking on how to improve yourself, figuring out if you're happy with where you are is something that most people don't ever have time to really think about, because you get kind of caught up in the day-to-day, and what's the metaphor? Can't see the forest for the trees. Or possibly can't see the trees for the forest. It really is, if you're at a place where you can do it, it's worth taking stock. I know for me that figuring out that what I was chafing against with a lot of my anxiety over where I would be going and what I would be doing after I graduate was because I was feeling some form of internal pressure that, oh, I'm going to have to find a place to go, essentially semi-settle myself again. And I don't know how long that opportunity would be for. I don't know if when all this is going on, I don't know. That's what was really getting to me for a lot of the term in regards to when I'm moving back to the States and what I'll be doing after I graduate. Figuring out that for me, the answer to that I don't know is that, of course, I'm not going to know. The lifestyle that I want is one where if I get an opportunity to work in a studio for a while or to have a residency, I can just pick up and go and not have to think about apartments or rentals or all of that pick up, shut down kind of stuff that I'm not looking forward to having to deal with here, and packing and all that. I mean, I know I've got a good couple weeks worth of going through everything that I own and choosing only that which I actually care about or is necessary to keep once I do get back to the States, because downsizing is one of the first steps to moving into a RV type motorhome full time. And I'm actually looking forward to that. And I have to do that anyway. In one stage, in order to move back from here, I'm going to have to box up all of my glass, ship it back that I've made. Anything that's not staying here is going to have to be shipped back to the States. My other things that I am keeping from here, like this, are going to have to get shipped back. But I know that I have a lot of stuff in my house here that I am going to be essentially boxing up, either getting rid of, trashing because it won't be worth finding a new home for, recycling if I can, or basically putting in nice big boxes that my food currently comes in, and just offering up to whatever friends will take it. And if nobody that I know wants it, taking it to one of the 7, I think, different charity shops in Farnham. So I know that that's going to happen, and I'm actually going to start going through and sorting through my stuff as soon as I am done with my projects and ready to submit things. Because again, it's also, if you have been meaning to do that sort of going through everything and deciding what's worth actually keeping and what's just holding you back, even if it's physical objects that are taking up too much space in your house, it's a good time to go through that, even if you do have to set your boxes of take to the charity shop off to the side for after you're allowed to leave your house. Anyway, going back to the patchwork, I've got all of these snipped apart, and now I'm going to set up the iron and press them open. So here we are, back to the lovely window view of sunny Farnham. I do not understand why the weather has to be so nice, specifically on days when I can't be outside for extended periods of time. But I have a window and it opens, and I have windows that let the light in, so I'm dealing with it. So I'm going to move my pins out of the way and move this strip out of the way into my box of strips of fabric. And before let's see. All right, there's a little bit of water left in my iron. That should be fine. Actually, I'm going to get a little bit more water for my iron. So I'm going to just run down to my sink real quick. I'll be right back. Enjoy the view while I'm gone. Talk amongst yourselves. All right, I'm back. So in case you're wondering, I don't know how standard it is to use steam in an iron when you're pressing quilt or patchwork fabric. I tend to have my steam going on it, just because I am using a 100% cotton poplin on these pieces, and sometimes there are very stubborn creases in it. So I use the steam a little bit to make sure that everything presses nicely and doesn't give me any problems down the line. So anyway, now I'm going to turn my iron on. So now I can, once that heats up a little bit, I will be able to press these open, and I'll show them to you as they get pressed, and I'm very excited about these. It does always complain a little bit when I first turn the steam on. But there is the first one, and you can see the two different yellows. I don't know how well it'll show up on your screen, but they are a different tone. So this is that duckling yellow fabric, and this is the ice-dyed yellow fabric. And they do have tonal differences. It's more obvious in some pieces than it is in this, but it's going to be fun. So there's the first one. I actually got my angles working today. This is exciting. Normally I have to fuss around with the camera a little bit because it doesn't want to cooperate. And there's the second one. As you can see with the light behind these, part of why I'm making these as hanging unquilted patchwork pieces is so that I get that lovely design element of the dark lines where the seams are pressed. So after I get this banner done, I have one more that I definitely am going to make, hopefully in time for my hand-in. And that one is going to actually be something of a sampler quilt type banner. There's another one. So that for that one, I will be making different individual patchwork blocks and then putting borders around them and seaming them together. There's another one. And of course, once I get my essay and the documentation work for my major project done, I'll be able to just do as much patchwork as I like and then just add any additional banners that I finish into that documentation. There's another one. And there's one more. You can really see the different tones in this one, I think. It's subtle, but it's there. There's another one. The nice thing is, between all the fabric that I had dyed for tests for my project when I was explaining to my professors, this is what I want to do with this hand-dyed fabric, and the fabric I dyed specifically for this project, I have enough to probably make 6 or 7 of these banners before I run out of some of the fabric that I'm using. So I have plenty of patchwork to do depending on how long I'm left staying in my house. And there's another one. There's that one. And there's another one. As you can see with these, because my seam allowances were somehow a little bit off and I had to trim things, my little yellow square is not quite a square, but it'll work out. There is some degree of imperfection inherent in the patchwork process, and I am just going to accept that it exists. You can really see it with these that have more of the color change in them, how different the two yellow fabrics are. Like I said, there's 34 of these, so it does take a while to go through them all. And we're getting close to the end of these. And then I'll be able to get my strips out. So the other reason I use a little bit of steam is so that when I'm pressing these seams, I can use the tiny bit of moisture in my ironing board to hold the fabric still, so it doesn't want to move around as much as when I'm pressing them. And last one. And there it is. So now I'm going to turn my iron off for a moment. And I'm going to get my fabric out. So the next strip is going to go across the top of this here. And it's going to be the lighter of the red tone fabrics that I've dyed. So this fabric actually looks kind of pink, but it'll work. Let's see, do I want to use the pinkish one or do I want to use a red with more white in it for these? No, I think I want to use the pinkish one because that'll blend better with the other two. By pinkish, I mean this garish salmon colored red fabric. So this is the fabric that I dyed in the leftovers from ice dyeing my red fabric that I'm using. It did turn out kind of bubblegum pink. I think it looks... Let me turn the light on. All right. I don't know how much that helps. Bubblegum. It looks like bubblegum. So I'm just going to lay this on here for a second and have a look at this. Yeah, I think this will work. So my plan with this is to use the lighter and darker versions of each color. So I've used my lighter yellow fabric that was dyed in the leftovers of this yellow. I've used my lighter blue that was dyed in the leftovers of my dark blue that'll be going on. So yeah, pink is gonna have, this is gonna work for the pink. My original plan with this fabric was that I was actually gonna go in and over dye it a few more times in red. Couldn't get back to this into the studio, so for obvious reasons. So this is still pink, and it is very pink, which is why I think it'll work better in a very small scale design like this. it does have some darker areas. So as with everything, I'm going to be tearing this into a strip. I'm going to find the edge that's already the torn edge. There we go. This is a 100% cotton poplin, which means that, and it's a straight grain fabric, which means that I can tear strips off of it rather than having to cut them. Saves me a lot of time, helps me get neater strips. So yeah. And I'm cutting these strips at 1.5 inches wide. And I'm going to go ahead and tear off 3 strips. So first one. And there it is. I'm not really much for pink, but a lot of my tests of dyeing fabric have ended up pink just because if you're not very careful with what reds you use and they end up too light, light red is pink. And there's the second one. And one more, and then I can put this stuff away. And there we go. So now I'm just going to fold this bubblegum monster back up. And maybe I can show you the color better now. You can also see this has some really nice patterns on it at the larger scale. So I may save this and use it with some of my past dyeing experience or dyeing experiment fabrics for something else. But for right now, it's going to get put into this banner at least. I have a rack off to the side here that my fabric is living on. So now, before I can pin things on, I first need to press all the wrinkles out of this pink fabric. So for that, turn the iron back on. Just gonna pull the stringies off of all this. I have lots of string that I need to clean up, but I will get it cleaned up eventually. So this in particular is where I really like having that steam on, is at the stage where I'm pulling these strips through. Because I need to get, they're nice straight strips, but they're a little bit warped when I tear them. So going through and pressing them before I pin them helps to make sure that they are nice and straight when I'm pinning. And now that I've got this, thank you, Lonnie and Peggy. I am very glad my headaches are better today too. I think there is something blooming in Farnham that's getting to me, but very glad that that's, so you can see the patterns that are in this pink fabric now that I've got it ironed. It's very pretty for something that's pink. I'm one of those people that's never been very fond of the color pink. That may be because I was a female child growing up in the 90s and everything girl was pink. But this fabric is not too offensive. Granted, I have a friend here who's a guy who absolutely loves pink as a color. So kind of is just one of those colors that either you like it or you don't. But I'm more of an earth tones kind of person than I am a pink kind of person. And even when I'm doing glasswork, I tend to choose earth tones or neutrals for what I'm doing rather than bright colors or anything. So this whole project has had me a bit out of my comfort zone because I've been using bright colors. And there's my pink fabric strip number 2. This one has a really nice bit of pattern on it. Let me see if I can get it. You see that? That's a nice bit of pattern there. So there's that piece of fabric. And now I can actually turn my iron off because I'm not going to need it for quite some time now. As it is time to pin things. Yay. So, I've got my strip of fabric, got my scissors, and now I'm just going to one by one pin these bits of fabric onto the strip, snip it down to the size, and I'm actually going to trim the selvage off the end of this one first. There we go. So I'm going to go through, pin everything, and then I'll be ready to sew it. So again, if anyone has any questions, comments, or things they want me to talk about, do leave me a comment off to the side, and when I see it, look up and see it, I will respond. Also, I am still sorting out my big pins from my little pins. Big pins are good for some fabrics. They're not so good for this particular fabric. They leave marks pretty badly, so. I'm just going to show you this first one, and then I'm going to get on to going through the rest. Bubble tape. Bubble tape is what you're looking for, Lupe, and yes, it really does look bubble tapey, especially because of the strippy things. So there's the front, there's the back, and I'm just going to go through and pin the rest of these. I do believe there is quite a bit of a lag because of the state of my internet connection. So I respond to your comments when I see them, not necessarily immediately after you post something. And for the rest of these, I'm just going to pin them because it's faster that way. And then you'll get to see them when they're pressed. Excellent. Fits just right on this. I'll just have a tiny bit I need to trim off on this one. I love it when I get to the end of the strip and the last little bit of fabric perfectly fits. Let's see, does that need to be trimmed? All right, there we go. Of course, this is why I cut more than one strip at a time. Again, for anybody who's concerned, anytime I sneeze, I promise I'm not sick. I'm just allergic to trees and pollen, and it's spring, and I have to have windows open because my house is warm, which is great in the winter, but right now it's kind of, all right, so that strip bit is not quite long enough, so I'm just going to show you that little bit of pink, and then it'll go in the basket. All right. Luckily, I have a third strip. All right, everything is pinned. And now I'm going to put this away, move my pins out of the way, and turn you around and sew these. So, having done the math on the last banner based on on the hours I was live streaming for, my last banner took me roughly 18 hours to finish. And that's not counting the amount of time I spend dyeing fabric, because that fabric is getting spread out over everything. So yeah, patchwork takes time. I mean, granted, that does mean that if I wanted to, I could get one, and I was not working on anything else, I could get a banner like this done in probably 2 days. But because I work on it for a couple of hours every day rather than all in one chunk, it does take a while for me to get one made. So now to get the bubble gum attached. Share some of my thoughts. At the moment, my thoughts are mostly about getting this thing done, but also this makes excellent method for doing a garland, I suppose, if I ever want one. At the moment, I'm kind of just thinking about getting this patchwork done because I'm an hour and a half into doing this, and I'm actually making progress today. Um, hmm. Moment I'm kind of thinking, I should design an actual quilt to use some of these fabrics, because I'm going to definitely have plenty of fabric to work with to do that. So I have an idea of, yes, thank you. I always forget that. Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to do that now while I'm thinking about it. Thank you for reminding me. I always get caught up in what I'm doing and forget that I need to be documenting what I'm doing. And with this one in particular, I want to be able to document the steps of doing it. What I'm actually thinking is that I might combine for this banner, I might actually, instead of using just these blocks, make up some with a star pattern in them and offset them in the design. So I may need to get my sketchbook out and do some drawings of that. But I'm having some issues today with my thread breaking. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. There we go. That's better. I'm getting there. I'm almost done. Just a few more. Again, 34 blocks. It does take a while to sew through all of them. I think after I get this last one sewn, I'm actually going to just press one open so y'all can see how they look and then stop for the night because I'm starting to get a little bit of a neck ache from the posture I've had at my computer all day coupled with sewing. But I've only got 4 more to sew first. And there we go. So I'm going to just clip these apart and then press one of them. Actually, I think I'm just going to leave them like this for tonight. I will come back to them tomorrow. I'm just going to press this one real quick so y'all can see what these look like pressed. And then I'm going to stop for the night because I'm starting to get tired. So I've discovered that my limit for making these live streams and for being able to do one task for very long is probably around 2 hours before I really need to take a break. So 2 hour long is probably from now on going to be roughly the maximum for the live streams unless I get to a point where something I really need to finish goes over that. So I'm just going to press this one. And I actually do like the pink in this. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn the iron off because I'm not going to use that today. And there we go. So that's with the pink strip added. So you can see there's a bit more dramaticness between the dark red and the light red as far as the dark yellow and the light yellow is going. So tomorrow I will go through and press the rest of them, pin them to the blue strip that's going to happen next, and carry on sewing. So until then, I'm just going to say good night to everybody. If you do like watching videos like this, please feel free to like and or follow my Facebook page so you know when I'm doing this, because it kind of depends on when I get to a stopping point with my schoolwork, when I am able to start patchworking, so the time of day I do the live streams varies a bit. I also do have an Instagram that is linked to through my Facebook page and a website now, so katiesilverwings.com, hub of all of my stuff, has my actual portfolio up on it if you want to see some of my glass pieces in photographic detail. And in general, I wish you the best and a much better rest of the day, regardless of how your day's been. I hope that from here on it gets better and that you and yours are safe and healthy through all of the mess this world is in right now. And remember, you're not alone. Even if some of us only exist on the other end of the internet, you have the rest of humanity with you. You just have to reach out to the people that you care about, and remember that each other exists. But things will get better eventually. Just start thinking about where you are, where you want to be once all of this is over. And remember, I care about you at least. I hope you have a nice evening or afternoon, depending on where you are. I know, or morning. I know some people are in very different time zones. Anyway, I'm going to go get my dinner now and take a break from working. So good night.